welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
It's too early.
It's too early. I made them. It's very early in the morning. I made them record early, but I brought bagels.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah, it's early because I got stuff to do today.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're here. It's November. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving. And I think Eve's going to go first.
Yes. So for Thanksgiving, we decided to do a giveaway.
Yay.
This Thanksgiving.
That's cute.
This Thanksgiving bag, little turkeys, and the matching notions pouch. And we'll be spinning for it on our next video. So you need to have your comment. We'll tell you at the end on how to get it. But
so watch to the end so you
yeah.
can learn how to win it. And we'll be giving it away next week.
Next weekend. And you know, we record on Saturdays, even though it uploads for Sunday. So pay attention to the date we tell you, because you know, if you,
so we can know before we record.
yeah,
Yeah.
because we want to make sure everybody gets their comment in in time. So that's that. And I bought this fabric for a reason.
It's so cute.
I was walking by it and trying to find some place where it's not going to get dirty. I was walking by it and I had just, because I don't have enough projects, you know, I'm just sitting around bored, nothing to do. There was something I wanted from Fat Quarter Shop, and I had been eyeing this pattern, you know, every time I saw it online and all that on their YouTube. This is Stitching with the Housewives Thankful, and it's just so cute. It's one of their What's in My Cup patterns. Have you seen it?
That's neat.
Yeah, a little turkey down there. Well, that little turkey looks suspiciously like this little turkey right here. There's one little turkey on here it looks a lot like. And I was like, oh, maybe I can finish it with that somehow. So,
and then you said, oh, maybe I could make a bag.
And I said, oh, it'd be cool to make a bag and give that away for Thanksgiving. So that's how that happened. So I'm going to be working on this today. But because I like to, you know, make things impossible to see, I'm stitching it on gray.
Why do you do that to yourself?
Well, because I forgot to buy black when I was at the store.
I told you I had lots of
I know, but then when I laid it on that gray, I thought, you know what,
it'll be pretty on here.
I was like, I like that. So.
Yeah, it'll be very.
Yeah, I might have to do back
subtle.
stitching around the white, but you know, every time I do one of their patterns, I
next week we'll hear how it's too similar. I can't see anything. I made a bunch of mistakes and had to take it all out.
So, speaking of patterns that I don't need to have, we went to the attic yesterday, and this popped into my hand.
It just jumped in.
It did. And it wouldn't get out. It was like stuck. It's Life is Better Meow by Erica Michaels. And
is that one of those What's in My Cup things, or
what?
For the I can never say what it's called. Like marketplace kind of thing.
I don't know.
They did a virtual version of it because they couldn't, you know.
Meow the Merrier.
Yeah.
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 So this pattern has on the little pillow, there's a heart button, and on the berry there's just a little round button, and it comes with the buttons.
Oh, cute.
Which is really good because the last one, you know, that I had that finish for, my buttons for that came in yesterday or day before yesterday. When was it?
I
think it was yesterday.
I think it was yesterday.
What's it for?
You remember the holly jolly berry?
Oh,
I did?
yeah.
So when I finish it, the the little candy canes go on top, and these little I'll take pictures of these because I know you can't see them.
Buttons.
These little peppermint buttons go in the O. So I bought it for all three things. So, but I saw while I was perusing to find the right things, I saw this little
Mouse button.
You are a mess, child.
Well, she kept talking about this mouse that she wants to do, and I said, "Ooh, she does that mouse. Maybe she wants this mouse." So I have that, and I bought another little project bag. See, these little project bags will fit in our big ones, so I'm like, oh, that works out pretty good. So
I need some of those.
they're $3.
Gallon Ziploc bags.
They're $3 at the attic.
Well, why didn't you buy me one? Or two?
Because you have money.
You come to the attic with us, or what's it on?
Nobody invited me.
So I also
Or you were busy waiting for your
staying
show.
on cross stitch because I have some stuff that's not cross stitch. I have a finish,
That's cool.
and this is.
Can I see that?
Yeah, this is patriotic mini bouquet by Jeanette Douglas Designs. But I did not use any of her colors.
I think the colors you chose are beautiful.
I just
and is this printed like this with little polka dots on the fabric?
It's called Pink
It's very
Splash.
subtle.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's Pink Splash. One of the
Marana Carre. Is the color?
yeah, one of the Hobby Lobby Marana Carre 32 count things. This is the same one I used on the little mouse. And then I just pulled thread from my stash, and the red flowers, like I said, I have a picture here, but the red flowers were supposed to be two different colors of red, but I chose a Weeks Dye Works blackberry, and it's very variegated. So I just said I'm just going to use that. And around the outside was supposed to be white. Well, we know how much I loved doing white on white with this fabric before. So I chose Perfect Pie Crust, which is just a very subtle, fleshy looking color. And it's very subtle and pretty on the on
it
this.
looks really nice.
And it matches very well with the little pink splashes.
What are you going to do with it?
I'm going to put it together for somebody for Christmas, which is why I went ahead and started doing it.
I see.
So, anyway, I used a combination of threads. If anybody's really interested, I'll let them know. But I'm really happy with the way it turned out. When I was first choosing the colors, see, it has these little buttons. It has these little buttons that I bought when the pattern was free, but I had to get these little buttons. And
Free with the purchase of the button?
Huh?
Free with the purchase of the button?
They're these little they're not buttons. Why did I say buttons?
Pins.
They're pins.
Oh.
And so the
pins.
picture shows them stuck in there like that.
Ah, I see.
And so at first, the blue that I chose based on these pins, which I still plan to use because they still look okay. When I started putting in the blue, I was like,
How are you going to finish that?
I'll tell you later.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I forgot. You told me you're going to make it Christmas
yeah.
thing.
So,
I already asked you that question. I don't know what's wrong with my brain.
So when I started putting in the blue, it looked almost identical to the green. I mean, and they were different colors in my hand holding the threads, but just the stitches on here, they were so close. I was like, that just looks like another leaf, because here this doesn't have like the whole thing. So I chose this brighter blue, and once I started stitching, I started smiling. I'm like,
that's really pretty.
I was like, that is so happy
That's very
looking.
nice, yeah.
So it's a beautiful pattern, but I switched around the colors. And then I left off, it's supposed to say, because it was a patriotic, it was supposed to say July 4th up here. Well, it's not July 4th. And it was supposed to say 2020 down here, but I went ahead and put 2021. I was going to leave it off entirely, but then I thought, since I'm giving it away,
it's good to know
that person might want to have the year it was made, year 'twas given to them. So that's my finish on that. And then my quilt, I finished all of the pinwheels. So now, instead of a stack of trimmed
half square triangles, it's a stack of the stacks have 2 pinwheels and 7 squares. Now I just need to sew them into 9 patches. And then cut them.
And then after they're all 9 patches, then I cut them in quarters and then sew them back together.
Nice.
Yeah, but that part's easy. So this was the most challenging part. And I wanted to, yesterday after I finished stuff, I wanted to go and finish, at least sew some more of those 9 patches.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, it's 1:30 in the morning.
Yep, you gotta call a...
You know, at some point...
You don't want to do a me.
At some point you have to say, no. Need to go to bed. So I, when I was cutting out the Thanksgiving bag, I also cut out a Nomi bag. I made a mistake on cutting it, so I'm going to have...
You can have a mistake bag?
I started cutting out interfacing too. So.
Merry Christmas to me, mistakes.
No, I did cut out the interfacing for these. I did interfacing for 3 of these, so they're getting closer to being ready to sew. So here is a Grinch.
That's so cute.
Oh, and the fabric that's gonna go with
Oh
that
my
gnome,
God.
with the gnomes, is this polka dots.
Oh, I picked that
Yes,
polka
you did.
dots
Yes,
to go
you
with
did.
those gnomes. How about?
So
That's
it's this
perfect.
polka dots.
Cute.
And
Cute,
the
cute.
fabric with this Grinch fabric is, look how cute. Oh my goodness.
Oh, how the Grinch stole Christmas.
It's got
stuff.
it's got, you know, the little railroad thing here.
And Susan
and-
is
Huh?
what is her name? Oh,
Cindy Lou Who.
Cindy Lou Who.
Mhm.
And the dog.
So,
Remember when you had to wait for one day a year and that would come on? And and if you missed it,
Do
do you remember when there were only 3 channels?
I have a blanket that is that red and green color.
Grinch.
It's like a polka dot, and I call it the Grinch blanket.
So, then, this one I didn't cut out the interfacing for. That's why it's not stiff. Little snowman.
that's cute.
Now, I have enough to make a second one. This one's going to be for me because I love snowmen.
Yes.
So, this snowman is going to be paired with snowflakes.
Nice.
But at the same time, I bought this Christmas llamas. And I can't
Adorable.
remember what fabric they were supposed to go to. If they were also supposed to have these. But I only have a yard of this, so that's 2 bags worth. And so that can't be right. We're supposed to make 2 of the snowman bags. I only had half a yard of
shop
this.
for some more fabric.
Well, no, because remember when I was getting fabric for that quilt stuff, and I got the other stuff in, but I'm not going to show that here.
Oh.
I bought 5 yards instead of 4, and I only needed 4 for the quilt. Partly because that girl can't cut fabric. So that I
You
make
bought
sure.
some insurance.
Yeah. But it's a Christmas white on white, and I think that would look
Yeah.
good with this. I have an extra yard.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but, you know, I have to buckle down and do this bags. And I want to get them done hopefully very quickly. That Thanksgiving bag, because I said, nope, this has to be done. It has to be done right now. I finished it in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you count cutting it out and cutting out all these bags and sorting zippers, because I needed to decide if I needed to buy zippers for all these bags. I guess it was 2 days. But that is me. That is all my stuff.
I guess I'll go next, so that's okay.
It is with me.
So what have I been working on all week? Mostly Hannah's quilt, and I did not go to bed like I should have one night. I'll put up a picture of all the half square triangles that I did I had been working a few at a time. So what I did was, you sew I made those 4 patches that I showed, and then you sew a 5.5 to a 5.5 contrast, the color and the white, and then you cut them diagonally, and then you iron them out, and then you trim them. So that process, I think I talked about it last week, was like 244 half square triangles. So I finally finished it I was going to say on Tuesday night, but technically it was Wednesday morning. Early. We were supposed to go to breakfast with my dad at 7 in the morning. And stupid me, because as the thing was last week, I'm basically an idiot. I stayed up all night. And because I kept going like, well, I only have 3 more stacks. Oh, I only have 2 more stacks. And at one point, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was in Hannah's room, And at 3 o'clock in the morning, my husband opens the door. Because I guess he'd gotten up to go to the bathroom or something. He opens the door and he looks at me. He doesn't say anything, and then he just shut the door. He said, I thought about saying you should go to bed, but then I realized you're a grown woman and you can do whatever you want to do. And he shut the door. He didn't lecture me, because I just looked at him and I didn't say anything. I was like, so then as soon as I finished trimming them all, I reorganized them into the stacks that I'm going to show these pictures. One stack is for 12 stars and the other is for 16 stars. I'm not stack, but arrangement. And I very meticulously put them into color organization because it's supposed to look scrappy, but I have the hardest time with randomization. I have such a hard time. Like when they say just randomly put, I can't. I start to look at patterns and oh no, and that's too close to this, and this, I don't want the same color touching. So I very meticulously put them into groups of 4 colors to make these. So I did that all night, and I basically didn't get any sleep and went to breakfast like this on Wednesday morning. But here are some of the stars that I made.
But you were just doing...
I was just doing the trimming.
Just trimming a half square triangles.
And since Wednesday, I've been sewing stars. I try to do about 2 a day. Actually, one night I sewed I think I sewed 1 on Wednesday, and then I've sewn the rest of these like Thursday, Friday. Look at my ironing. I'm very meticulous, and I'm very fussy. I won't take them out if the corners don't match, unless there's something heinous. But I'm really careful when I'm sewing to try to get those points.
That looks beautiful.
And then I noticed that, like on this one, I don't know if the camera can catch it. It's got stripes, so it's a stripy fabric, and I wasn't sure how I was gonna, because they're directional, and I'm like, oh, what if I sew it crooked? But I was able to turn these so that the stripes go the same way. So I thought that was pretty cool of myself. So, so I tried to organize them so there's no duplicate colors in any of the stars, and they all are pretty much looking scrappy. But,
so what is your opinion on ironing to one side or ironing flat?
I always iron to one side.
You know,
And I even, so I'm really fussy about that, about the nesting seams. And I even, once I made one star and I had ironed it, because I really, and this is flannel, so I've been really fussy about making sure it's as flat as possible, which my woolen pad has really helped with. I think I might have almost burnt it the other night. 'Cause I was very aggressively ironing. But since this is flannel, it's a little thick. Like this center here is really tight. But I always go to one side. I never do it open.
I was listening to somebody who was talking about how to repair things, like if you finish the quilt up and you discover, you know, there's seams have come apart, or, you know, because we don't backstitch when we're quilting, and sometimes, you know, things happen. And she said seams are more likely to come apart if you iron flat.
If you open them up.
Yeah, because
then you have a stress point.
You weaken the thread.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I always iron to the dark side for the most part. But once I made one of these stars, I looked at the direction on each one, because I just nested them without ironing them when I very first did this. So then I started looking at which direction each seam goes, like on this intersection. And so then, as I made each subsequent star, I would iron each quadrant the correct direction, so that when I put the star together, the seams are already going the right way. So that's how, I mean, I have to think through all those things, just how my brain works, and so that I feel comfortable, because I guess whatever vestiges of OCD I have, I sit there and ruminate about these things, and it drives me nuts. So being proactive, I always check, like with this block, this little quarter star block, you know, I ironed this seam toward this white square, and this seam toward this dark triangle. And then because you turn the block each time, so like, see, this one is turned here, and then it's turned again, and then it's turned again. So as you turn it, this seam will nest naturally, because you've turned it, you know, a quarter. So anyway, that's just the crazy ironing math that I do. But it makes it, everyone, I posted it on the Missouri Star Facebook page, and everyone freaked out. They're like, "Oh, your points are so, your square's so meticulous," and because I organized them in clips. They're like, "What's the system with the clips?" I'm like, "It's literally color," because I did all the green half square triangles were in a stack, and then once I trimmed them down, I clipped them in groups of 4, because this is a quarter of a star. So then I was able to just grab the little clipped stacks and put them together, like in this, like for 4 colors. I'm like, there was no system. It's just to keep them from separating, and I'm like, it's okay, ladies. The other thing I'm working on today, because I'm crazy, is I started a new knitting pattern. Here it is. It's just a little vest. I'll put a picture of the pattern model photo. But I have a funny story about this. So I was at Joann's with these guys, was it last weekend?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Something. And I saw this, it's by Yarnspirations? Yeah. And it's by Karen Yarn Company. And it's called Knit City Walks Sweater Vest. I'll put a picture here. It's very 70s inspired. And if you look at the picture closely, you'll see that it has like some blips of color on it. And that happens because it's striped, right? And that happens when you change color, but it's usually, it's usually on the wrong side of the work. That's where it usually shows up. And I couldn't figure out how they made those color changes, because it tells you with the with the pattern description, it says to knit 16 rows of this color, and then 4 rows, 8 rows, 4 rows, even numbers of rows. But even if you switch colors on a purl row, if you're doing, because most of it is stockinette, except for 1 row of texture, which I think you can kind of see in the light here. And that's just like a row, 1 row of ribbing, which is purl and knit here. But even if you change it, even if you change colors on the wrong side, you'd be purling and the color doesn't show up. So I did like to where I am now, and I'm like, I'm not getting these color blips. You see, I was like, something's wrong with what I'm thinking, because the 16 it said do 16 rows of this color, and when you get to 3 inches, change from the ribbing to the stockinette pattern, and that happened to coincide with 16 rows. So I changed on the right side, and the color blips showed up on the back. So I'm like, that's weird, and I kept going, and it never said where to change colors in order to get this color blips. So I stopped what I was doing, because I'm like, I could not understand and figure it out, because the pattern row is 4 rows. It's knit, purl, that ribbing, right? It's, what is it? Knit, purl, that ribbing, and then purl. It's a free pattern, so if you want to copy it, it's free. Anyway, yeah, knit, purl, the ribbing pattern, and then a purl. So it's a 4 row repeat, and then you get 8 rows of a color or 4 rows of a color. So I was imagining that the color changes coincided with the pattern repeat, because that makes sense. And it never said, it just said keeping control, C-O-N-T, continuity control of stripe pattern, repeat these 4 rows. I'm like, okay, but then the color blips never showed up. So I posted a question on the website, and I said, I'm working on this vest and changing colors on the right side rows, so I am not seeing the color blips that seem to be in the model, but the pattern doesn't state that I should change colors on the wrong side rows. I didn't count the cast on edge as a row in the beginning, so my color changes all coincided with right side rows. Can you advise? And this is what they said. Thank you for contacting us. In order to ensure that you get the pops between color changes, you want to switch colors on a knit 1 purl 1 sequence, as in row, may want to make an early striping sequence longer in rows, or set yourself up to switch at row 3 of the texture pattern. And then she writes the texture pattern. I'm like, this, I almost wrote back and say,
did that make sense to you?
No, it didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me.
I've been knitting a long time. That didn't make sense.
You may want to switch colors on a K1P1 sequence as in row. Maybe they meant to say as in row 3. Mm-hmm. But then there's nothing, and it says as in row, may want to make an early striping sequence longer in rows, or set your... I understand, I kind of now understand, because that's exactly what I did. I ripped it out all the way back to the top of the ribbing, and I put in the first 3 rows in this A color in the stockinette. And at that blip row, at the knit 1 purl 1 row, I switched colors. So because it has pearls on the front side, the color blip shows up. So now my color sequence is off by 2 rows of the pattern sequence. That's all it had to write. That's all they had to write. It's like change colors on row 3 of the whenever, so because you do, whether you do 8 or 4 rows of the color, if you change it on row 3 of the pattern, it works out. Anyway, I was like, I wanted to write back and say, this doesn't make any sense. Please edit your comment, your reply, because it's not in English. But anyway, so this is the front side of this little vest. It's bulky yarn. I figure, what the heck? So, okay. I saw the pattern, and I personally did not like it because it reminds me of the 70s. But I texted it to my daughter, and she's like, I love it. and I have this thing.
She
It's
is
like
very retro.
she is very retro, and I never know. I can never predict. I'm like, Hannah's gonna hate this, and she's like, oh, that's so cool. I'm like, okay. Or I think, oh, Hannah's gonna love this. She's like, nah. I'm like, okay. I just have to ask. So I sent her the picture, and she's like, I like that. So I thought, oh, what the heck. But the other problem with this is that it's made for this new yarn that they making called, what's it called? Colorama O Go. It's made, you might have seen them at Joann's. It's made in this loop, like in this horseshoe looking thing. And it's supposedly a new way to wind yarn, and it's supposedly tangle free. Well, any yarn can get tangled. But so it's this magical thing where if you just pull from one side, it.
What?
Did doggy want to join?
She came and wanted to be up.
Hi, baby dog. He's so cute.
Sorry, I'm interrupting.
But anyway, this magic yarn, new winding, design. Okay, that's great. So I bought the required amounts. It's 2 different colorways, and you buy 2 skeins of each. So I get home and I start to read the pattern, and it basically says, pull it all apart and put it in balls of the different colors. So, like, exactly why are you, like, I guess you just make a blanket with the color changes as it comes. It's great. But anyway, so here I am with my Ziploc bags again. I had to separate out all the colors. And by the way, so there's one color, this color A, and the color E. These 2 colors that are in both colorways. However, because they were dyed in separate, they do not match. Like, one was much darker than the other, and here, one of them has blue flecks in it, and the other one kind of has, like, pinky flecks in it. So, but anyway, that's my new project that I'm doing when I can't stand anything else. And it's bulky yarn, and it's going fast, so, with the exception of having to figure out the striping colors. But anyway, so that is me. I did work on Rachel's shawl this week. I didn't bring it with me. But it's coming along little by little. But, yeah, so that's all I'm doing. And just trying to I'm trying to get this quilt to a place where I can pack up the box by the time my aunt comes to stay in there, because my big box that room is blown up right now. There's nowhere to sit except for one chair in front of the sewing machine.
I have to get my planned quilts done before we get our Christmas tree.
Yeah, I know. I have to at least get Hannah's quilt done before.
Oh, we gotta get those pillowcases sewn. We did a lot of work.
Oh yeah, a lot of pillowcase work. Yeah, we trimmed and rolled and ironed and ironed and ironed and.
I was trying to figure out why I felt so sore after all the ironing. Is because I was of course using my right hand, and this is my stroke side.
Yeah.
And so I really feel that muscular weakness. When I first was in the hospital, and I had the stroke, I hadn't really had any reason yet, because I had been in the hospital in ICU. And so then when I went to rehab, not the first day, but like the next day, I guess, that I was there, they took a few of us down on a little excursion to the Starbucks down in the lobby. And there were like only 2 nurses, I guess, and maybe 5 of us going down there. And most of us were in wheelchairs. And I thought, oh, I could push my own wheelchair. I felt, good. And then it's like, no, I can't, because I really felt it in my right arm, And so I think when I was ironing the other day, I just, afterward, my right shoulder and I had pain up into my head and everything else, because this. And I realized later, it's because I was using my...
Yeah, there's a lot of ironing. We've all done it.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it's your turn.
Really
What you working on?
So I'm working on this Mandalorian... I'm going to put a picture of the pattern, because it's very tiny anyway. But on this towel, and let me just finish this row here. But this is for my nephew Eli. He just moved into his apartment and realized he really didn't have a lot of hand towels for his bathroom. And so I thought, well, this will actually work. These towels. I talked about this last time.
That you've gotten very far. You have...
Yeah, I have, out of, I think it's 8 characters.
You have 4?
I have 4 of them done, and I'm just starting on the 5th one now. And the one thing I've noticed with it is that this pattern is that they have a lot of, I guess, either they're 3 quarter stitches or 3/4 stitches or whatever, but it's, like half this color and half this color. So you can't really do a 3/4 stitch because you'll end up burying, one of the colors or whatever, so it comes out all weird. So I've done just quarter stitches. So I'll do, like one little corner here, one little corner here. But it doesn't really look good unless you do a lot of back stitching. And the pattern doesn't really call for it in some cases. But so in a couple of cases, I've added a little back stitching so that you can actually tell what you're looking at. Because, like I said, it's not always recommended in the pattern. But I've done some of it. As a matter of fact, I did some last night that was not in the pattern, but that I felt gave it a little more definition. And that's in the character Quill, whatever his name is. Yeah,
I have spoken.
Yeah.
Did you do
and
that
actually,
with his eyeballs, like I suggested?
The goggles. I mean, I'll
goggles.
talk about that in just a second. Here, let me get this, just so I don't lose the.
She and I were discussing a conundrum.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I felt like it was a problem in the pattern, and it didn't really make sense what was mentioned. And when I started this out, I started with it out of the hoop so you could see it better for me. Yeah. So I've got 4 of the 8 characters there. It's Baby Yoda under here, and the Mandalorian guy, and this robot guy, IG-11, and Wheel, this little short guy over here. And on him, so he has this pair of goggles that he usually has up here on his head. And I didn't backstitch around them, but I did like, these big satin stitches, really, because on the pattern it said, it has like for each character, it has like on the instructions like a list of there's a color list, a master list of all the colors that are required for the whole pattern. But but there's a separate instruction sheet that has like, the Mandalorian, and it lists all the colors that are used in his pattern, and then it'll say like, backstitching uses this color, and French knots use this color, or whatever. So, so I was looking at this Quill guy at the pattern for him, and for his goggles, it had like 2 big circles up there, but all it said was French knots for this goggles. And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense, because you'd have to make a gigantic French knot, for it to be his big goggles.
It would look hideous.
And it was just a huge circle. And it's on the
Okay, I'll find it. Just keep talking.
But
oh, I see.
But so it didn't make any sense. It didn't have a proper symbol or anything like that. So I couldn't figure out what would be the best way to do it. So he suggested satin stitches. So I did that, just big stitches over where his goggles are.
Yeah.
And so,
You know, I bet Eli's going to criticize that. I bet he's going to be like, I can't use this towel because that's wrong.
The stitches aren't wrong.
but like where his, I guess his gloves are. I guess they're gloves. I don't know. And then
I
this
think they're guns.
buckle or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But so it says to backstitch around them in this like kind of it's a bluish gray color. And I did that and you really couldn't see it at all. Mm. So I did some long stitches. I just went back over it again and did long stitches. And you still really can't see it very well. You have to kind of like
but it's
really
cool.
look at
You can tell who
but
it
yeah.
is.
So, but then also, it had, you know, like some kind of a beige color here. I don't know if it's a hood or I haven't watched the show in a long time.
He has chops, doesn't he?
But anyway, so it's here and around the top, and then there's brown, and then his face, and so it just looked like, you know, a bunch of mishmash because again
it's so small.
quarter stitches. So I just took, it's not in the pattern, but I just took it upon myself to backstitch around it with brown around his face and
good.
everything to give him some definition. Yeah. So although where his nostrils are, I did, you know, the like French knot, kind of colonial knots really, but they look just like his eyes. So, so I don't know, but and then he's wearing like a little mask thing, and it's kind of hard to see, but you know,
I can tell what it is. I can tell.
So anyway, I've done these 4 characters, and there's about 4 more to go. I guess there's 2 over here and 2 over here. So, yeah, and then the other thing I talked about last time, I think that that I was going to do for him for Christmas, this adaptation of a couple of Christmas towels. I had showed those the fingertip towels before, and so I had one that had this little Rudolph here, and one that had this little Santa. And so last weekend I talked about how I had spent some time on my computer, and I just like I just charted, you know, on PC Stitch, charted this little the Rudolph Reindeer, and then I just duplicated him and changed his nose color to black to be the other 8 reindeer, and then I put Santa on there, and then I just elongated the sled so he has a present and a Christmas tree that were on there. So that's the pattern that I'm doing for the towel. So like I said, I worked on this adaptation for the other towel. So it's the same size as this towel, and that pattern, it's very small printing wise. I couldn't get it to print bigger, but it should take up a good deal of this towel from the top to bottom for sure, to squeeze those reindeer in, and it's just kind of a lot of stitching. So, but this is really all I've worked on stitching wise for this week, and the other thing, yesterday, was Priscilla Blaine's birthday, Stitching with the Housewives. Either yesterday or the day before was her birthday, but I think it was the 12th. So for her birthday, they released a little free pattern. It says "A Very Merry Christmas." I've got this pattern over it because there's not a picture; it's just a pattern. But so yeah, it's a very Merry Christmas, and it is just says Merry Christmas, a very Merry Christmas. It's got a little Santa and a little tree and some ornaments and stuff. It's very cute.
It's very basic and very cute because it is very basic.
And then the other thing is we just, went shopping and bought some stuff. And, and I've got a new pair of glasses. That was one thing we did when we were running around yesterday. And actually, because I was kind of waiting for them to call me because they had said, "Oh, your glasses should be ready by the 11th, if not before, and we'll give you a call to come in and get them." And so I was waiting, and I thought, well, maybe they were closed on the 11th because it was Veterans Day. I don't know for sure. I didn't notice whether they were going to be open or not, but I had not heard from them. So since we were out and about and going to the attic yesterday, we stopped by Walmart at their Vision Center or whatever. And I went in there, and she said, "Oh yeah, it looks like they were ready on the 10th, and we tried to call you and leave a message, but we couldn't get a hold of you And so I asked her the phone number, and they had my phone number wrong. So and it took like 2 or 3 times to get her to put the right number in there, because I was like, no, it's I had to tell her 2 or 3 times to make sure she had it right. But anyway.
Not that it matters now.
Yeah. So I got my new glasses. And actually, I was very tempted to, because they had the frames that I got last time. They had them there. And I thought, I could get the same ones. Okay, no, I'm just going to get a different pair. So these are slightly larger than the ones I had before. And the ones I had before didn't have a frame down the bottom like these do. So these are a little different, but they're really pretty. I like the side. They're like kind of marbly on the side, and they're blue and black on the front here. Yeah. So yeah,
that's good.
The other day, we've been on Tuesday mornings. We've been attending this Bible study at church, and we're having a little Christmas party thing at the beginning of next month, and it's a 3 favorite things. A favorite things exchange party. Yeah, you buy 3 of the same thing, but basically you just choose what your favorite thing is, or one of your favorite things. And so so the other day we were at Hobby Lobby for something else, and I had thought of one of my favorite things. I thought, well, there's a whole bunch of things I could call my favorite thing, but
I've been struggling trying to decide what I think mine will be.
Yeah, well, because I thought about, I could get like some kind of elephant, because that's one of my favorite things, or but whatever.
I think of it like something you would recommend to people.
Yeah.
I know, like my favorite baby toy. Mm-hmm. I know exactly what I would do if it were that. But
you mean like crockpot liners, parchment paper, and foil?
Those are Eve's favorite things.
Yeah.
But you have to get 3 of the same thing. Don't you dare bring three boxes of parchment paper. I'll kill you. I won't sit by you.
I wouldn't do that.
But so I thought, well, cross stitch is one of my favorite things. And so at Hobby Lobby, because I don't know how many of these, if any of these ladies do anything cross stitch-ish, but at Hobby Lobby they have these little my first cross stitch, my first stitch kits, right? That's so, but they didn't have like 3 of the same thing. They had 2 of these and 2 of these. So I got 2 of the these little hedgehogs, and they have little spools with all the threads, and they come with this little plastic
hoop and a needle
frame. And then there's cloth and a needle and all that stuff in there. So it comes with a 3-inch frame, 14 count white Aida, the flosses, and a needle and the chart.
Fun.
So yeah.
But those ladies can even learn it with their young
with their daughter or granddaughter or whoever,
I thought about taking that gloves lotion. What's it called? Gloves in a bottle. Mm-hmm. The other day, Mark started. I was telling him, I'm thinking about that, man. I was thinking about that gloves in a bottle, and he goes, "If I could have gloves in a bottle." The first thing that I'd like to do.
But so the third one I bought was this little bee, And there was one I thought about buying this a hedgehog, a bee, and they had a unicorn there. But I thought, well, the little unicorn was kind of a little it was a little girly, and I thought, well, I don't know, because someone could work on it with their daughter or their granddaughter or whatever, but there's no telling who would get it, so yeah, I didn't want to do that. Just and I'm not really into unicorns or whatever, so
I don't know how it works. Do you choose things, or how does it work?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's just
I've never been there. It's not my
strange
church.
thing. I don't know. But then also at Hobby Lobby and or Joann's, I bought a whole bunch of junk things. Not just, I don't keep saying junk. I know, not junk. But so I was just on the whim bought some little charms. We were actually Eve and I were looking for giraffes. Somebody had mentioned if we asked whether or not we had giraffes for needle minders, and we really don't. And I thought I had seen some, among the jewelry making stuff at
Almost said junk.
at Hobby Lobby. And we looked at Joann's and they didn't have anything. And at Hobby Lobby, the only thing they had were these pretty expensive pins. They were like, the glittery, like with little crystal, little. There was a giraffe that was, I want to say it was like $12 or something. It was relatively expensive, but it was a pin, so you'd have to take the pin back off and make.
And it was pretty little.
It was.
Well, I mean,
But anyway, then there was a giraffe head that was about this size, but it was like $18. It was really, really expensive for So we didn't find anything, but I did find a charm. That was a giraffe. It's very tiny, but would make a good scissor fob. And so while I was getting that, I found an elephant and a fox and a hedgehog. These are really cute. And so I also at Joann's, I think it was, because these are Hildy and Joe, found some beads. I think these are all from Joann's. But these are foxes. Oops. Little ceramic foxes. And that's why I bought like these kind of fallish looking beads. And then these are
Little Santa heads.
Kind of. I don't know if they're Santa heads or
They're Santa hats, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, Santa. Oh, yeah, because they have a little holly berry on them.
Yeah.
Little hats.
Cute.
And the other day, last week, I think I showed some Santa heads that I got. So between those,
Santa's severed head.
Yeah. And then these little bees.
No, those are cute.
They're cute. And some just beads to go with those. And I have, here they are. And these little gingerbread men. I'm not crazy about the little crystal kind of beads they put in there, but I like the little gingerbread men. So I got all of those.
Beth is anti-crystal beads.
I am. I like the colored ones better, I guess. And then when we were at the attic yesterday, I bought another one of these bags. I have a whole bunch of these. Huh? And I bought some threads.
I bring Diet Cokes every week, and nobody bought me a project bag.
Maybe
Man.
I'll let you have one.
Man.
But so I bought some colors to go with those patterns that I bought last week at the attic.
Do you ever
Because-
imagine yourselves
Huh?
sitting here working on a project and like behind you is like a whole line of projects
Yes.
that
Yeah.
you have to do
Yes.
or thought you were going to do or want to do and
Yeah, I have.
bought them?
I have.
Naomi, literally behind me is a whole. What are you talking
just
about?
like-
I have.
These things that I showed you will end up right behind me. In a minute.
I have. I have a notebook this thick that has patterns in it that I
I
have
know.
not. Yeah.
I know. It's
And that's not counting. I have a box that I always forget about that has kits in it that I've not started.
I saw somebody.
And-
I saw somebody on Instagram that said, "I finally cast on this sweater because I refused to cast it on before I finished XYZ," and I was like, "I could not."
Yeah, that's how like some people are like. Oh, I only do one pattern at a time. I can't start something else until I finish this. And I'm like, oh, if only.
I tried to do that with that berry,
Mm-hmm.
and I started and finished it pretty quick. Mostly it's text, so that's pretty quick. But it's gonna sit like that in a thing with half started, or it's gonna sit like that in a thing not started. Either the way, it's sitting there.
I
So
just
if
have
it makes me happy to work on it,
I just
this
have
is
a short attention span, and so I get like overwhelmed or like.
Well, and I've tried, like a lot of people have very complicated rotations or whatever, or like some people use like Whipco, which is like a variation of bingo, but you put you can choose your whip, whatever whips you want to work on, and you choose a goal for each one. So I think it's Jessie Marie Does Stuff is the name of the what do you call it? Her YouTube channel, Jessie Marie's YouTube channel. But Jessie Marie is the one who came up with it. So every month she calls bingo, Whipco letters or whatever. And so you look at your Whipco board and you find something that matches up on that, and you
that's
work
what you
on
work
it.
on.
Yeah, and you can set whatever goal, like 10 hours or finish this or whatever.
What did I?
And so then when you finish that goal, you can cross that box off, and so that's part of your Whipco, your bingo, And so,
Gosh.
so anyway, that so some people use something like that, or the decision roulette wheel to determine what they work on, whatever. But I found that like I just want to stitch on whatever. And sometimes I'll have like a goal, like I'm working on this towel because I want to finish it for Eli, for his apartment. And then I have, like I said, the Christmas one, that because I want to do something that's going to be his Christmas gift. And so I have a few things like that, but for the most part, and especially for this year, because I, in the years past, I've done like a whole bunch of, Christmas gifts for people, and I thought, well, I just don't want to feel like doing that this year, because then it's a lot of pressure. Because like starting in July or something, I'm stitching like crazy on all these things and trying to finish them all by Christmas, and then I haven't stitched on things that I want to stitch on. And that's why I ended up with a 3-inch binder full of patterns. But well, that's one reason why. But yeah, so this year I I figure maybe I'll give some Christmas gifts that are stitching related, and maybe some that aren't or whatever. Like I've got some I don't know, some Christmas gifts for a couple people that are
Yeah,
that I just came across.
I don't, especially this year, I cannot put any additional pressure on myself. I know that. So I'm just doing whatever I'm doing for fun, with the exception of one idea for somebody who's in the other room there. But
from the time that I got Robert until probably junior high, maybe high school. Junior high, I guess. Robert and I would maybe buy something for people, but I would have him make people something. And when I have video to prove that he did it on his own. When he was little, 4 maybe, he did sponge painting on T-shirts for everybody. There was one for Hannah, so he must have been 4, right? Mm-hmm. Well, Hannah was a onesie, so she's little, but and then one year he painted Kleenex boxes, that I got at Hobby Lobby, I think. Mm-hmm. And Beth, I think, still had hers when she moved here.
I had it for a long time, and then it fell apart finally, yeah.
And then, things like that. Because he doesn't have, kids, they don't have a bank account where they can go and, buy something. And parents can take them something what do you want to buy, and but it's the parent
it's
giving
neat
it.
to make stuff, yeah. And
when the kid makes it, it's him giving it, because he spent time working on it. And I know that I feel like that too when I make something as a gift for someone for Christmas. That is my preference. I just run out of time and end up buying stuff later, sometimes. But, but it's my preference to make it. So, do we want to talk about what to do for the Halloween bag, or do we have stories?
You mean the Thanksgiving bag?
Yeah, that one.
I only have a story in that I got a new stove this week, and it stunk up my house. I got it yesterday.
It stunk up your house?
It stunk up my house, but it's, it's so fancy. It's a Samsung, and you can control it by your phone. And it sings a song when it's done preheating, and when the food's done, it sings a little song.
Is that why you were baking last night?
Yeah. But it tells you before you do anything, turn it on to 400 for an hour and make sure your kitchen is well ventilated. They're not joking about that. I put a fan in the kitchen. I opened all the windows. I eventually had to open all the windows in the house and turn both my bedroom fan and the living room fan on, just because it smelled like, like off-gassing, basically.
When she was telling me all the stuff this thing could do, I'm like, does it dance?
Yeah, it apparently it can dehydrate, it can air fry, it also can do convection oven baking, which I don't understand at all. And but you can program it with your phone, and so it has you name because I guess you can put all your Samsung devices, I don't know, and it has you name the particular device, and it said because it's a range, right, because it's stove and oven, so I named it Ranger Rick. So Ranger Rick sends me texts, and preheating is done, and it's singing a little song.
So you could use that the way Mom used to use that timer, and have something ready when you get home from church?
Well, I think you could, but you can set the temperature and everything and send it to the oven, but you have to go actually push the button.
So then you can't.
So you can't. But I think, you could set it, I'm sure you can set a timer to turn the oven on when you're not there. I haven't explored that, but But I can turn the oven light on and off with my phone.
So when we were kids, the oven my mom had in the kitchen had a set of timers on it, and she could tell it to turn on at a certain time. We'd go to church, and dinner would be ready when we got home. And it started failing because it would turn itself off.
Oh no.
She would, and it started failing, and if we didn't get done with, if the preacher went long or something, we'd get home. And to this day, I prefer burnt roast. The little crunchy bits.
Oh. Yeah, so I bought a chicken so I can bake a chicken in it. But yeah, so last night I made my last HelloFresh meal. I decided to quit HelloFresh, but I had one last meal, so I made it. And actually, I think the oven is too low because usually, my old one, I it would just hammer everything. Mm-hmm. But this time, I'm like, oh, so this is what roasted broccoli tastes like, not burnt. But it was a little like the potatoes were in there a long time and they did not burn. So I was like, So because our other oven had some issues, my husband has an oven thermometer. So I hung it in there when I baked the cookies, and it said it was at 350, but the oven thermometer was hovering around 300. But then as it baked longer, it got up to 350. So because you can adjust the sensor, but I was like, well, let's give it a couple weeks, and right before Thanksgiving, I'll test it again, and see. I'm gonna try to use it pretty often. I'm a little nervous to make a chicken in there, but I have a thermometer that goes in the oven with it, so I'm gonna just keep using it.
Well, and you can use your meat thermometer.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna see if after a couple weeks of use, if it is heating up correctly or it's still on the low side, because then we can adjust it before Thanksgiving. But
yeah,
but it's very nice, and and now it made a clean spot in the kitchen, and so my microwave, my stove and oven and my dishwasher all match, and the refrigerator sticks out like a sore thumb, but it's still working very well. So what am I gonna do? But so that was my adventure this week, and yeah, just I don't know, just having a busy week. Oh, Eli had an open house on Thursday with his new apartment, my son. That was fun. We all went and had lunch.
Mm-hmm. Housewarming.
That's what I meant. Housewarming.
Yeah.
And we made lunch and everybody came, and
we met some friends of his.
Yeah, his friends invited themselves. They're so cute. We walked in with all the groceries, and they're like, "Is it okay if we come?" We're like, "Of course."
They're very sweet boys.
It's a good thing I made something that was stretchable. But yeah, no, they were very nice. They're very good friends to him already. And but yeah, that's all we did. But so yeah, we should talk about at least for me. You guys have any interesting stories? You already told your stories. Oh, your kneader story. You have bad luck.
I'm going to condense it, because kneaders, we love kneaders. We go there a lot, and things happen. They forget an entree or whatever, because they don't make anything until you order it. So things have happened, and they were having a bad day yesterday. I don't know if they were shorthanded or what. Yeah, and I did notice. I was in the drive-thru, and I ended up having to go around and wait in the pickup area because my choice. They made a mistake and they were fixing it for me, and I said, "You've got a line a mile long. You're cooking a new sandwich. I'll go around to the other side and wait over there." And then we noticed that we were missing a drink. And Beth says as I'm getting out of the car, she goes, "The drink tray is cracked and broken." I was like, "Well, I'll get another one." So I go in there to do that, and he gives me the drink and the sandwich and the
drink holder.
And the drink holder, and he goes, "I keep asking them for different drink holders, and they keep sending these." Mm-hmm. And he went and got some from a different place than where the drive-through person has, They are sturdier. We could not put the drinks in them. No matter how hard we tried, we could not.
They're too small and they're too stiff.
Yeah.
So they don't expand.
That's probably why it broke.
And so yeah.
Well, and we get a lot of those drink holders from like McDonald's or whatever. You're like, I don't know. It might be easier just to hold it like this.
When I got these this morning, she handed them to me. Of course, they have those. Well, I won't comment. Those plexiglass things that come halfway down.
They can't. They're like
halfway down the window switch. I'm sorry. What good are they doing? Because she had to stick her head out to hand me the Cokes. She's like, because there's that thing. So anyway, and so one of them was completely wee as I put it in my car. I'm like, ah. Yeah.
Yeah. So they crack and they break and they're all the same useless thing. They did make some that were like they fit in a bag. They only put 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just gonna say, it's closed right now because they're renovating it. But the only place I ever got good drink holders is the Chick-fil-A by the mall, over there on the other side.
What kind of drink holder?
Because it was the box kind.
Oh yeah, this one gives them.
This one? No, the one I took you. Because the last few times I've been, they're the flat ones.
Well, because when I order DoorDash from them, I get those in a box.
I love those boxes.
Yeah, those boxes are great. And they have this little thing where the straws go in. Yeah. They're fantastic.
I like those.
Yeah.
That's how Cane's does it, too.
Yeah. So.
But
that was just amusing. It's like they are having a really bad day. When I went inside, they had just gotten some kind of shipment of how they have all the stuff inside. I never got that witch. Oh well. They have all that stuff inside,
to buy, like a mini Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gifts and stuff like that, and breads. I bought some pumpkin bread. Anyway, there was an empty pallet with the plastic all ripped up, off in the corner by the door. And there was a lady putting stuff away, and I think she had asked the manager for a box or something. So when stuff like that is going on, I'm like, why is she here in the middle of the day? This is...
Because that's the day. Oh, talking about shipment, Eli and I, he had a doctor's appointment, and I picked him up, and we went to lunch. And we went to Smashburger over on Elliott and the 101.
I haven't had that in a long time.
And it was so good. It was so good. Smash fries. Yeah. Bomb. Anyway.
Yeah, they're really expensive, but they're very good.
We went, and as we were walking up, so as I pulled into the parking lot, I was like, well, I guess I can't park near the building because there was a big UPS, I think. It wasn't FedEx. I think it was UPS truck parked just completely in the way of everybody and everything. So we walk in, and as we're walking in, he's got the ramp coming down the truck, right? And he's got boxes piled maybe one higher than the top of the dolly. And he's starting to go down the ramp, and he's like, what? And the boxes all go forward, and he's grabbing, trying to get them, and they just all went floom all over the place.
Hope nobody was ordering anything breakable.
He's like, well, no, it was all for Smashburger.
Oh.
So it was all probably frozen patties and stuff. I don't know. But it was just funny. He's like, oh my God. I can't believe that just happened.
Well, you know what? Jan's ex-boyfriend I think it was him, worked for UPS for a while. And they were under so much pressure, to be fast and make all these deliveries. And his hair was falling out and all. He was he was out. So stressed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that he was, that because they want them to, do it faster, That's probably why he piled them too high. To make one trip instead of 2.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was so funny.
He ended up costing him some time. Yeah, and I love delivery people because they work hard. Those guys work for a living. UPS and FedEx.
I felt so bad for him.
UPS, FedEx, any of those guys that have postal workers. As much as I complained about them before, they work hard, and carrying boxes and and all different shapes and sizes. When I worked at a postal substation in Florida that was inside the craft store that I worked. I was like a relief postal person. And there was a guy that went in there, he shipped an airplane propeller. All you have to do is have it properly wrapped and labeled. It costs him a fortune, but you can. There's not, you can't ship that shape of box. There's none of that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming now there's maybe more regulation, but I don't know. I mean, there was this propeller in like, what is going on? And you get crazy people. There was a guy that came in. He wanted to mail like a letter envelope, but big, not a padded envelope. And he wanted some Scotch tape for the back. And I said, sir, we don't put Scotch tape on the back of the... And I was trying to tell him, I'll give you the big sticky tape. But he didn't want that. He wanted Scotch tape. This is Florida, and it's humid. Scotch tape just disappears. And if you're afraid your package is going to open, Scotch tape isn't going to do it. Mm-hmm. And so he was ugly and yelling at me, and I said, here, use the Scotch tape. So about a week later or so, he came back, and he was, maybe it was later in the day he came back. And he was yelling, and he was wanting a manager, and he was wanting to get his package back out of the bin for mailing, because I was gonna throw it away, because he had been mad and because I hadn't wanted to give him Scotch tape, and he made me. No. And I said, sir, it's a federal crime to mess with the mail. And I said, I'm not allowed to put my hand back in that bin. Once your letter goes in there.
Oops. Sorry.
Once your letter goes in there, I can't take it out.
Yeah.
And he was yelling and complaining, and I'm like, I said, sir, your envelope is in the bin to go out. I'm not gonna. And the manager had to come and say, she's not allowed to get it out of there.
Yeah.
Because that's tampering with mail.
Yeah.
I don't even remember how it was finally resolved. But I was like, you're a crazy person. And he said, because he was mailing manuscripts or music pieces to somebody in New York, and they weren't ever answering him back. And so he knew that people were messing with the mail as he mailed it.
Oh, no. It's probably they don't want to publish your stuff.
It could be that your manuscript just isn't good. It could be that it's on a stack this high.
As I say, unsolicited stuff,
it's in the round file.
Either they don't look at it, or it's like in the slush pile and it takes forever.
Yeah.
When they went once in a while, if they have time, they might look at it.
I was like,
but that's like when I worked. I worked in Mike Huckabee's office when he was lieutenant governor. Briefly, I was a temp. And there was one of the things that I did was I opened and sorted the mail, and there was this one lady, I should say, one woman who wrote in, I guess, fairly regularly, because people who had been there for a while knew her, but she was always writing in about how, I guess she would enter like lottery kind of things, and she always talked about how, the bank and the post office and the police, I think, in the town where she lived were taking her big money.
No.
That she was convinced that she had won, money, and but she wasn't getting it. And she was, writing to my Cuckabee saying, please investigate or whatever.
Yeah.
And saying that, that people were stealing her big money. And, she was apparently she had been writing like that for quite a while. But, she was just convinced that, people were taking her money or her winnings. What can you do about people like that?
And sometimes you're like, you feel really bad.
Yeah.
That,
like, who's looking out for this person?
Yeah.
You feel really bad for them that they don't understand how the world works, basically.
Yeah. You're talking about delivery people on TikTok. There's an account. It took me a long time to figure out what he does, but he's a FedEx driver. But it's all the dogs that he meets. They come up to the steps of his truck and he films them. And like a lot of them know him and they say hi. And it's so cute. It's so cute. He's like, this is why I love my job. I get to see all the doggos. And some of them get mad and most of them are happy to see him. It's very funny.
There was a
cute channel.
A guy that lived in my apartment building in Little Rock who had a dog, a little dachshund named Lizzie. And one day I came home from work and there was Lizzie. Had come up to the door of my car and she was like, and I think she had gotten in my car. She jumped in the car when I opened the door. But so, so I was, and so I was, said hi to her and I guess I had put her out of the car. But she was there by the doorway, and I heard, Elizabeth, Elizabeth, Elizabeth. And I was like, who's calling me? And I was looking around, and it was that guy. He was calling the dog. But he was calling her. She was scolding. What?
Using her full name.
Her full name, yes.
Well, we better wrap up, because I'm going to the symphony tonight, which is why I made them record so early. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was because you were buying a couch.
Well, we might be buying a couch.
Oh.
We're looking at We keep debating what kind of couch we want. Okay, the wife's supposed to be the picky one, right? But anyway, no, I like that my husband is involved in what he wants in the house.
He doesn't say, just go pick a couch.
No, it's good. Look, blips and all, color blips. So how do you get the bag?
Here's the bag, Notions pouch. This is exactly like what we sell in the Etsy shop. And to get this, I want you to, if you want it, you need to comment below what your Thanksgiving traditions are. If you do not do Thanksgiving, if you're from a different country, you're in a different country, whatever.
Let us know that.
Just say, what you think about Thanksgiving, or, I'm from XYZ. We don't celebrate
I'm from
Thanksgiving.
Canada and we had Thanksgiving last month.
Yeah. Just comment below. And we will take the names of everybody who comments. It's not going to be, our favorite comment. No. We're going to take the names of everybody who comments, and they're going to go in a little decision roulette thing, and that'll pick it.
It's adorable.
The brown, there'll be pictures, but the brown, if the picture won't pick it up, has a very subtle leaf pattern.
You can see it.
I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Can you see it there?
You can see how it's color on color, but it's a leaf pattern. It's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And
if you're industrious, so some of the turkeys are not colored in. You could color it in if you wanted to.
With fabric pins.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Yeah,
I love these pouches. The one I have is the old version with the snap.
I like the snap version better.
You do? I would like this.
I like the zipper. They're a little bit bigger, and you can fit more stuff in them.
Well, I don't know. Those snap ones hold a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do.
They hold a
Yeah,
lot.
I have one that seems small, but I don't know. It may just be the way it's cut or the junk I have stuffed in it.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
have,
junk
I've
you have
stuffed a lot
stuff
of
in.
junk in mine.
I can fit a lot of stuff in
So
mine.
cute. So, if you want this bag, comment about Thanksgiving, whether it's your own or what you think of it, or how, if there's any other similar celebrations in your culture, let us know. And we will spin for this next week. So your comment needs to be in by midnight or so on the 19th, which
On
is a
Friday.
Friday. Because we film on Saturday, so we want to have everything in by then. So make sure you leave your comment, like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, all those good things, and one of you will be winning this beautiful set.
Yep.
We can't guarantee it'll mail before Thanksgiving, but you'll get it. For
Well, we'll mail it
before Thanksgiving.
before Thanksgiving, but you won't get it before
Then
Thanksgiving
it's-
because we all know that our wonderful post office has decided to slow down their service
to do things slower for more money.
for more money. So
It just cracks me up every time I think about it. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.